And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 90th, that's 90, episode of the IGC Podcast, where we
I think
talk
it's
about
Plague Cast this time.
the Plague Cast, where we talk about video games and also how we are dying a little bit inside every single day. I'm your host, Gray Geraldin, currently dealing with an eye infection of some kind. I think the rest of the crew here is also a bit under the weather, but coming at you after Mother's Day to talk about the video games. So, Core Contingency is back with us today.
I am back this week.
Welcome back.
Got a nice scratchy sore throat, but I got plenty of medicine for it.
It's perfect. You're doing a talk show and you can't talk. It's great.
Yeah, I love it, huh?
We're glad to have you back. And the ever faithful AI monster is also here.
Yep, I'm still here.
Mostly alive this time, I think.
Yeah, mostly. Better in the last 2 weeks, but yeah.
So, who wants to talk about what they've been playing first here?
I guess I'll go.
All right, you're up then, buddy. So what's going on?
I didn't listen here. I completely forgot, but I don't even have a video for it. But I don't know. Some people on Shack News are talking about this new kind of anti-visual novel that came out on Steam called Stay Say: The Democratic People's Republic of Korea. So I picked it up.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting into it. I think the writing's pretty cheesy, and it's not really hooking me in. But we'll give it some more time here, and maybe I'll see what everyone's so jazzed about on this thing.
It's called a rogue, not hentai visual novel.
Oh, okay. That's like I said. My experience into this visual novel genre is extraordinarily limited, and I just went out on a branch here and said, you know what, I'm gonna try it. There's a lot of people talking about it. Seems like it's worth trying.
Okay, so he's not well versed in these things like you are. He doesn't know what it is. To teach him.
It's like they say. How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
I'm not sure.
I think you're going to pick up a upcoming game.
So that's that. I don't think I've sunk much time into that. But what I also picked up, that also came highly recommended, even though reviews are somewhat mixed about it, is the new Bethesda release of Prey. Which, if we've talked about in the past, was a sequel. Then they decided, no, it's not a sequel. Now it's just a reboot. And
it's nothing to do with the original game at all.
No, absolutely nothing to do with the original game. They are like completely night and day. Yeah, they're first person, but that's about where it ends. Where Prey was this kind of the original Prey was this wacky kind of sci-fi, spiritual like alien shooter with some crazy like arena type environments on the ship. The new Prey has you playing a character named Morgan Yu, which you may elect to be male or female, and you wake up on in your apartment basically, and it reminds you so much of like the opening of like the original Half-Life. Welcome to the test chamber, Gordon, kind of situation.
Yeah.
It mimics that, but in its own way. And so the game kind of takes off from there, but you very quickly come to realize this is not like a run and gun shooter. This is not New Doom. This is very much like a System Shock 1 or 2 survival RPG kind of.
It's got like powers involved in it and
there
stuff.
There are powers involved, but you're constantly having to scavenge and craft stuff together to survive, and it's a bullet hunt basically, because when you do get weapons, they can be fairly powerful, but ammunition is very limited.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting in this one is your enemies basically. There's an alien entity called the Typhon. And in the very beginning of the game, and to some extent towards the more middle portions of Emily VR's in, their gimmick is they can mimic items in the world. So they can take.
So you don't know where the enemies are.
You have no idea. If you study an area, you might see like a chair like kind of wobble or flicker or something, or a can fall off, and you get a good idea.
Shoot that motherfucker.
Yeah, that might not always be the best option though. Like sometimes the way they design this game is they don't always want you to fight everything you come across. Like you can totally sneak past or find alternate routes around enemies that would otherwise be too hard to take on in combat. Or if you do elect to go the combat route, then you've got some serious preparation to do. They very early on equip you with this, they call it the glue gun, and it does exactly what you think it does. It's a gun that shoots globs of glue.
It sticks things.
Yeah. So then that's all you've got. You've got a wrench and your glue gun at the very beginning of the game, and these the little typhon, I would call them crabs for the better lack of another description. They are jittery. They jump around. They're fast, little quick buggers, and trying to hit them with a glue gun not an easy task. So one of the early on strategies I adopted was they have these turrets, and you can pick up these turrets, and they kind of collapse back into like this briefcase format. You can carry it around with you, and then when you think you're getting into an area where you're going to have stuff jumping out and surprising, you can drop this turret down and kind of work your way around it.
So is this game more FPS or a survival horror game?
It's more, it's a good mix of both. Like, you're gonna do both.
I actually like the description of it.
Like, yeah, going into this, realize you cannot. It's not one or the other. You know, you're gonna have to do both at some point, and neither always works out too well. Like, if you're trying to treat it as a pure shooter, you're gonna have a bad time.
I also don't think the reviews are mixed on this game. I think it's just mostly
mostly
positive, but not like super positive.
So what happened was after launch, a lot of the reviewers got like 30 hours into the game or getting pretty close to completing it, and there was a devastating bug that was corrupting save games.
Oh no!
Which has been patched, but that docked it severely.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
Some people complain that it's not like the original Prey.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But they told us that. You know, everybody should have known that.
And there's a few reviewers that are still butthurt over Bethesda's review policy.
See, now, in that scenario, I was fully aware of it, and I waited a good week and a half after the game came out to pick it up.
So, I mean, I haven't looked at the scores on this or anything, but I mean, other than the save game bug, is there anything else that's sort of common among the reviews that is negative about this game?
No, everything is most positive. You know, there's like I said, people say it can be maybe a little bit too challenging at the start of the game because you're pretty underpowered, and you know when you get into larger fights, if you haven't planned it out or you know look for alternate routes, yeah, the enemies are hard, and they pretty much stay that way through the game. You know, they ramps up the difficulty from what other people are saying who are farther in the game than I am, and they've done a very good job of balancing that. You're never too powerful. You're never godlike, or you can just waltz through with no fear.
It apparently has an adaptive difficulty system, kind of like Left 4 Dead.
Okay.
So it gets harder depending on how well you're doing.
Well, that's neat.
I think the biggest negative review is complaining that the levels aren't interesting, that the variety of enemies aren't interesting, that the variety of guns is not interesting.
Well, I mean, there's only so many ways you can kill aliens.
Right.
Only so many aliens.
Especially when your game's not trying to be a pure shooter.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel to me like that's a valid complaint. Maybe not interesting levels would be a valid complaint. But like for a game like say Alien Isolation, which was well reviewed, that has one enemy basically that you're dealing with and the entire game, and you have to worry about that one enemy. I think you also fight like the other I don't know. Did you play Alien Isolation, Court?
I have not.
Yeah, I think you also fight like humans too, but it's just mainly the alien you're worried about, and that's the one enemy, and that game was interesting with that one enemy, so I don't think it's a valid complaint, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the games are going to have different atmospheres, right? In Alien, there's sort of a preconceived notion that the alien is too powerful to really defeat if you're not like a superhuman marine.
No, I mean, I really like the art direction and the atmosphere that they designed in this game so far. You know, the environments are interesting. They're varied in design and colorful. They're not just Starship gray everywhere.
That's good. So you like it?
I enjoy it. Yes.
Would you give it a 7, like 1 out of 10, 1 to 10, or whatever?
The 2 hours I've played so far, I'm gonna say, right now with the experience I've had, it's a solid 8.
Cool. I really thought about picking this one up, but I wasn't a huge fan of BioShock or System Shocks. The trailer just didn't seem to really do it for me in a meaningful way. Glad to hear you're having a good time with it, though.
I cannot wait to jump back into it and get some more time with it, hopefully after this podcast and the end of the hockey game.
All right. I'm going to jump in here and tell you guys what I've been playing. So I finished up Andromeda as of the last time that we've been around, and we do a little tabletop simulator thing every Saturday. If you're interested in that, check out the website. But I also talked a little bit last time about Star Wars Destiny on Tabletop Simulator. Now I've started actually playing a bit in the local scene. And for those who are unfamiliar with it, it's if you know anything like Magic the Gathering, it's a bit like that, but it's also got dice involved in it. So there's some RNG to this game. So no one deck really kind of like can win every single time, although some are more consistent than others.
There's RNG in Magic too.
Well, of course, there's RNG in Magic, but not RNG like to the level that there is in Star Wars Destiny. A card in Magic generally has an effect and does that effect all the time unless it is countered. In Star Wars Destiny, you activate characters, roll their dice out, and dice have 6 sides, and one of those sides is almost always a blank. So there is the potential to just roll really shitty an entire game with a great deck and lose handedly to a pretty casual deck.
House on Haunted Hill, the dice of many zeros.
Yeah, it's just bad sometimes, and there are cards to manipulate the die and all that stuff. So it is a really interesting game, and I really enjoy it. And we've been playing a lot of it, and we're actually got a little group going for it now as well. So
don't let Winter Tie play this game.
He might
win every time.
He might obsess about it a little bit. I certainly have obsessed about it. I think I've poured probably like $300-400 in real life into this game at this point. But I'm really happy about my deck now, and I'm in like the trading scene, and I'm a pretty good player at my gaming store too. So I feel pretty happy and content with my investment. So yeah, it's a really awesome game. We played a lot of it. So I've got a couple videos of it. This was sort of an older one, but it's kind of what it looks like if you play it on Tabletop Simulator. It's a pretty good replica of the actual game itself, and TTS definitely has all the tools you need to start playing and testing decks and stuff, which is really the great thing about it, because it sucks to build a deck in real life and spend a lot of money on something and then kind of play it and be like, this kind of doesn't work. It doesn't really synergize the way I thought it would on paper. And Tabletop Simulator really gives you the opportunity to play with any card you want and test out a deck and stuff. So looking to get into Destiny, it's pretty much still being fueled by the Tabletop Simulator community at this point.
Is there official support for Tabletop Simulator?
No.
It's unofficial.
No, the way it's kind of going right now is because there are 2 sets of this game. Awakenings, which ran dry in January, and Spirits of Rebellion just released on May 4th. And there's 160 to 70 cards in each set. But the first set is out of print and has been for about 4 months now. So the community has really built up around Tabletop Simulator due to the lack of availability of the original set, which really has a lot of high-powered cards in it. Every deck nowadays has at least, I would say, 1 hero in the old set, if not both heroes, and then some good new like event and instant cards in the second set. So right now, Fantasy Flight Games has been kind of hands-off about what they're doing when it comes to Tabletop Simulator. It's one of those situations where they see that it's actually increasing popularity for the game.
You don't say. It's driving sales?
It's driving interest, if nothing else right now. It's hard to say it's driving sales because the first print of Spirits of Rebellion is also kind of sold out in 90% of places. So in a lot of cases, this is the only way you can actually play this game viably. Because it's really hard to build a deck out of just the Spirits of Rebellion cards. Whereas Awakenings was built to be more like a base set kind of idea. It was kind of all encompassing. So, until they do the next print run of the original set, which is coming next month, they haven't said exactly whether it's going to be early June, mid or late June. I think at that point we'll probably see Fantasy Flight Games do something about the mod itself. I don't think they're going to go for official support on it or anything like that. But if they're going to do their own online thing, then they're probably going to go after, the mod in some way like Magic did and whatever. We'll see. We'll see. It's a pretty great game. It's pretty fun if you're into CCGs, but also like strategy stuff. And some randomness to your game. This is a great pickup to try. So I recommend giving it a shot. Come play with us because we got about 6 people in the Destiny group. So come chat with us. I'm pretty active on the SW Destiny subreddit as well. Find me on there, Gray950 on Reddit. So AI, what have you been doing? Back at Persona again?
That's Persona.
Or
Persona 5.
All right. How has Persona 5 been treating you this past 2 weeks?
I think I'm at a point where I made the game a bit too easy.
Yeah, you OP'd yourself and now steamroll everything.
Because I started going into mementos, which is like the It's not an endless dungeon, but it's like a lot of different floors of the dungeon and everything, and it increases in difficulty as you get down it. I started going into that, and now I have way too much money in the game and way too much everything, so just a little bit. My character's a little over-leveled.
One of those inevitabilities of JRPGs, and I think RPGs in general. You know, there's that climb, and then you get to the apex where things feel kind of good for a while, and then you start to dominate the hell out of things. Even Fallout 4 survival mode felt like that.
Although it still does kind of bullshit stuff, like enemies can use one-shot insta-kill. They literally just insta-kill you. And if it does it on the protagonist, it's game over.
I love that.
The protagonist.
I really, really love that goddamn mechanic.
So you could lose like 2 hours of progress, which happened to me.
So bad, man.
That seems like a bit of a design flaw.
15 had the same design flaw, but 15's combat was also a joke compared to Persona, from what I gather.
Oh yeah, Persona it's a hard game, especially if you put the difficulty high. So I might have to increase the difficulty again.
It's definitely not the first JRPG to have that kind of system.
I'm trying to do as much as possible on the first playthrough, but obviously not running a guide through it the whole time, so there's going to be stuff I'm going to miss, and you can't do everything on the first playthrough anyway, but the more you do, the better off you are in the second playthrough.
It's one of those.
For the platinum.
It is one of those.
And this is probably going to be it's either going to be my longest platinum or my second longest. I'm not sure. Destiny was a pretty long platinum for me. I'm not sure if that would be longer than this or not, but it's going to probably come in like 160 hours or so of gameplay.
You're a crazy person. You are an absolutely crazy person.
I expect to be finished around June, end of June.
That's your timed arrival for the end of this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
My second playthrough should go a lot faster, hopefully.
In theory.
In theory, yeah. I can fast forward for most of the dialogue.
Right, yeah, you already know what's going on.
Yeah, there's choices you can make, but for the most part, the story should stay relatively the same. Just instead of romancing one character, I'm going to just do the harem ending.
Yeah, you could do that. All right, so that's what we've been playing, huh?
Yeah, I'll talk about. I do want to play a couple more games. So I've been sick, couldn't get in PSVR, but I do want to play a lot of VR games. I bought some. I had a party, but I didn't use the PSVR myself. Other people used it.
I wasn't invited to your party.
I'm sorry. I don't think you want to fly down from New York to Florida.
What do you know what I want to do?
I don't know. Next time I'll invite you, I guess.
Okay, well that's better.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I bought a lot of PSVR games. I did see like some of them played. Static looked really interesting. It's like a puzzle solving game. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a really short game, but I got really good reviews too. But it makes really good use of VR, solving puzzles and everything, and it looks really interesting.
I can imagine the way my eyes feel right now going into a VR headset at all.
I think you would like this game. All that game.
There's a few I've seen that I would probably like. The titles escape me right now, but yeah, I think I would like VR.
Yeah, I got Nog or whatever it is.
Star Trek Bridge coming up at the end of the month.
I know, excited.
Yeah, that too. That's coming out. Farpoint I'm gonna pick up too. I pre-ordered it to get the aim controller and everything. I'm not like super excited about that game, but it's going to be interesting to see if it does well or not, because it's one of the big titles Sony's been promoting for VR. Probably the only big title they've been promoting for PSVR.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's the first to use the aim controller, and not a lot of games are going to use it, but I think it'll be interesting to see, because it's not a move controller, and the move controller they're okay for VR, but they're not as good as, say, the Rift controller, the Touches, or the Vive ones. So it's definitely like one of the worst things about PSVR right now.
We're going to talk about another VR headset in this podcast too.
Oh yeah,
A little
we
bit
are.
as well. It's interesting. All right. Should we talk about news?
Let's talk some news.
All right. Let's talk some news. So this probably doesn't come as a surprise to anybody. It certainly didn't come as a surprise to me. But EA has decided to shelve the Mass Effect franchise for a little bit. And the people over at BioWare Montreal have been downsized and also reallocated to some different teams. So this comes, on the heels of a game that kind of didn't really deliver in its promise to be a great Mass Effect game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess EA is basically saying this was a swing and a miss, and to the locker room with you.
How come they don't do this to, say, DICE or because DICE has had a few. Battlefield Hardline was pretty poorly reviewed and didn't sell as well as the other
Yeah,
Battlefields.
that game bombed. I don't know. It's really shitty because this is, another example of a studio that EA has purchased up and cultivated for a little while, and has just cannibalized.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of mistakes were made with Andromeda, but I think, honestly, more than anything, they should have shelved, the actual managers in charge of the project.
That might have been a great idea.
Studio.
There were a lot of things that came out after this game from managers and people in the studio talking about how the production of this game was start, stop, scrap this idea, start over on this, and it lost its cohesion after a while. And the producers of the game didn't really look back on any of those things. I think.
I don't think
that's what the producer's supposed to do.
I don't think you can fairly say EA cultivated anything. They basically, if you want to use a plant analogy, they basically bought a plant that was thriving, wonderful, beautiful plant, and just left it out to rot. Didn't water it. Didn't do anything with it.
Okay, you have a point. You have a point.
And now the plant's gone. It's gone.
Mastery of the English language is not what it once was.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things that kind of went wrong with the Andromeda, title, and there's a lot of blame to be passed around. And I gotta say, just shelving the franchise at this point, not a good idea. This is where you need to look at what you did wrong, dive back into it, come up with a solid, story concept and a solid concept for your game, and get back in there.
Like what they should have done for the first game.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Mass
Quite
Effect
simply,
should have been done at free. They basically said that was going to be it, and now they want to do all these spin-offs and everything.
Yeah, like a spin-off game within the universe, something going on at the same time as the Reaper invasion, like might have been okay, if it focused on a character or two and how they interacted. But this game, it just felt kind of unimaginative in a lot of places, and
I agree. I think removing this game from the Mass Effect universe that we know into kind of its own little, parallel galaxy was a terrible move because
didn't do it any justice.
BioWare built so much history and backstory for, the Milky Way galaxy, Mass Effect stuff. There was plenty of room to continue like new and entertaining stories within that galaxy.
Yeah, it's almost like they looked at the original Mass Effect trilogy as a giant cage that they were in, and they didn't want to play in it. And they had so much room in there to do stuff. And to look at your original trilogy as a limiting factor was the wrong way to perceive those titles, because they were great. Mass Effect 1 was a classic. Whether people like it or not, or talk about how it didn't age well, whatever. It set the stage, and Mass Effect 1, compared to this game, Mass Effect 1 was great. Because it actually, not only did it wrap itself up in terms of what you did inside the game itself, but it also planted the seed for what the sequel was going to be. And I think that's where Mass Effect Andromeda dropped the ball. It didn't show you who the antagonist was, who the real boss was. Yeah. On Varmar, when Shepard talks to the Reaper, that is a big deal because it sets up the entire trilogy. And it's a scene that is referenced back in the other games because it's what established the overall threat. And Mass Effect Andromeda doesn't have that. It's a ghost character at this point. There's a bigger cat out there. There's a bigger fish out there. Okay, tell me a little bit about that. No, we're not going to tell you about that. We're going to leave it up in the air, and we'll get there in the next game. But that's not enough to keep you coming back. You need to dangle the prize a little bit more than that.
I think they should have had more color endings.
They should have had more. What? Excuse me.
Colored endings.
Colored endings.
Yes, we need like a pink ending and a blue ending and a red ending.
You think so? Like based on viability stuff or whatever happened in the game?
Do you forget Mass Effect 3?
No, I remember Mass Effect 3 quite well.
Yep.
And Mass Effect 3 was a trash fire, to put it succinctly. The game was bad. It was very bad. Everything was bad. It was bad. Dialogue was bad. The questing was bad. The pacing of the game was bad. The only thing that they did right in that game was how you equipped and bought weapons and upgraded weapons. That was about it. They introduced the ability to be hit behind cover and all other kinds of massively stupid shit in Mass Effect 3 that didn't make any fucking sense.
No, and that's my stance. Like, if they'd have just taken, the mechanics of Mass Effect 2 and moved into Mass Effect 3 with an engaging story,
would have been golden.
Would have been fine.
Great. They didn't do
Mass Effect 1, great RPG, great story, great voice acting, great world building, very, very flawed, mechanically as a shooter. And they addressed all that in Mass Effect 2. And, at first when you jump into Mass Effect 2 and you're like, what the hell is this heat? Why do I have to reload? And they're like, oh, actually, this kind of makes more sense.
Yeah, they just reversed the system, and
right.
It was like infinite, but we're limited in shooting. This is like, you can pick up as many bullets as you want, but you're limited in how many shots you can take. It was a good backstep, but in the right direction. Andromeda, I don't know. It felt like a game that was trying to be a cover shooter, but actually benefited from you not needing cover whatsoever.
Movement is key in that game.
Yeah, Vanguard charge build was probably the best way to play that game. And I tried everything.
Everybody learned that very quickly. Like, don't bother with cover, just move around a lot.
Yep, just charge and Nova shit.
An action game, but you gotta have the cover if you're having shooting because that's what everyone else does.
I mean,
that's what Ubisoft does. So
yeah, the shooting was boring.
You're Mass Effect. You're not Gears of War.
The problem with it is this is one of those RPGs where you can't overlevel things because things pace with you. And the problem is that you really never kill anything in one shot. And I found this out as the Infiltrator build, which I played for about the first 35 levels of my game. No matter how powerful I got, it still took me 2 shots to kill most things. In the beginning and in the end.
Oh my god, 2 shots. Wow.
Yes, 2 shots.
That's a lot of work.
But here I was pumping hundreds of skill points into, shotgun sniper rifle damage plus 10% and whatever, but it never felt like it made a difference. Because every time I leveled up, the enemies leveled up too, and everything just stayed with me. And the power curve never creeped up to a point where I felt powerful. It just always felt like I was just keeping up with the Joneses, And I think that's boring. I think that's really boring.
No, yeah, definitely taking like a Skyrim route where you have, the main quest stuff levels with you, that's fine. But there needs to be places in the world that have, static level monsters where you can actually feel the power of your character, basically, and let it, just run free.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this, we could go on for hours about Mass Effect Andromeda and its problems.
But anyway,
we won't.
I think the interesting thing to take out of the story is they realize there is talent there in BioWare Montreal, and they're actually going to let them work on Star Wars Battlefront 2 to develop, hopefully, the single-player campaign that everyone was wanting, very much so.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope that Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a game that people want.
Have either of you played the new Star Wars Battlefront?
No.
So I have the Origin Access thing now, and it was on there, and I was like, you know what? I played the early release of this thing. I want to see how it's improved. It has not. It is how can you make a Star Wars shooter any more boring?
No, that's the problem with it. Everyone finds it really boring after a few hours of playing the same maps over and over again with
it's just
no real change.
It really is a flaw in the weapon design in that everyone favors weapons with high magnification sights so they can get headshots. There's dedicated sniper rifles and they're usually on the little power cards, but there are some weapons out there that have a good scope, and so what you end up with are a bunch of people hiding around the edges of the map trying to get headshots on each other. It's just freaking terrible.
Shooters evolve into that.
I hope this changes so now we can have sex with Wookiees in Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah, I highly doubt it.
Wait, is that fairy porn?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, never mind.
It's squarely in that category. It's not even like on like a line. It's like squarely in the box. You're banging Wookiees, you're furry porn. Whether you're banging the Wookiee or getting banged by the Wookiee. Anyway, so more on EA. EA.
You went to a dark place there.
Yeah,
what if
well,
it's wearing a human
I had to
mask?
clarify for the people who might have questions. You're furry. Period. Okay, so unlike, EA has been really skirting around this whole thing with the Switch, it seems. When the Wii U was announced, EA was kind of like on board with the Wii U, I thought. They were like, we're in, we're good, we like the Wii U, we're going to do stuff with the Wii U.
See,
then it
I don't
kind
see
of
that as the case at all.
didn't happen.
No, I mean, if you go back, the analogs of history on EA's comments about the Wii U, they were very skeptical about it, very cautious to approach it. They only basically said, we've got one game we're confirming, which is FIFA 17. And
that's what they're doing here with the Switch.
And that's what they're doing here. They're saying, although they're now bullish about the Switch, and they are exploring the option of porting other titles to it.
Yes, so it's
Which
not
is
just
about as
FIFA.
non-committal as you can get.
So maybe it's not just FIFA, it's some other game that may or may not see the light of day that may make it on Switch. It does seem rather non-committal, but I mean, if you're EA, the company that cannibalizes companies, apparently, what could you bring to the Switch that people are like, where's the audience for your game on the Switch? Who
is the audience
what game?
for the Switch?
Well, that's a deeper question. Or maybe it's a more shallow question.
Sure
maybe it's the same question. I don't know.
But we can't argue against the fact that they're moving units, Like, you're just now getting to the point where if you order one, you can get one within a few days. But
listen, Nintendo
I don't
sell a
know.
box with a piece of shit in it and say it's the new Nintendo, and people will fucking buy it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's is it selling? I mean, I know the Sky 5 Switch version sold 100,000 copies, which is pretty damn good for the Sky 5. But are the other games on it selling well that aren't Nintendo titles? I know there's so few games right now that selling putting a title out on the Switch right now is probably a good idea, but will be in a year from now.
The only one that seems to matter is Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. They're definitely moving copies of Zelda, and it just so happens each one of those copies of Zelda comes with a Switch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean that's the game to get on the Switch, and then after that, there's not a lot of choices right now, so people are buying those games. But what will happen when there is a decent amount of choices on the lines, and you could have all these different Nintendo titles on your Switch?
And it's not
are people going to be buying third party?
It's not like Electronic Arts has ever embraced any of the the more outlandish control schemes Nintendo's come up with in the past. So they're looking at what they've got in their current inventory that will work with this thing, basically, like pro controller or not. I highly doubt they intend to deal with any of the motion based stuff.
Yeah, I mean EA is literally as safe as you could get as a company because they will not invest in any new products or technologies or accessories or any of that stuff, peripherals.
Do not expect Star Wars Battlefront on the Switch, but with full support for its touchscreen and motion controllers. Not going to happen.
Never going to happen. EA wants 4 face buttons, double triggers, 2 analog sticks, and a D-pad, all right? They want to build their games around that because that is conservative, that is safe for them to do.
Right.
Deviate from that, they're not interested. They don't care about your tilt gyroscopic bullshit, Nintendo. But I mean, Nintendo doesn't need EA either. At the same token, I know it's kind of like, oh, we're talking about EA not throwing their support behind the Switch, but then again, they never quite have. So
and that's the point we bring up.
Really
on
matter.
Podcast after podcast, we talk about Nintendo. All Nintendo needs is Nintendo. Like the attach rate of any Nintendo console is directly proportional to the amount of first-party titles Nintendo's released.
Right, but Nintendo tries to give us confidence in third-party support when they only have it in the beginning and then it gets basically dropped.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, that was the case when they were the ruling party. They had plenty of third-party support, but now all these they've been losing ever since the Wii. With the Wii U, they've been losing. I don't think the Switch is really doing. I know it's sold out. I know it's doing really well initially. I don't think it's going to do well in the long run. I just don't know. I think it's going to be another Wii U situation. It's going to do a bit better than the Wii U, but it's not going to do as well as the PS4.
I'm with you on that
It's
one.
it's going to be another Xbox. It's going to be an Xbox One, basically.
I mean,
That's what
people are
some
hardly
people
talking
get.
about it now.
It has a very big marketing issue. It doesn't have a lot of penetration with casual gamers. It doesn't have a lot of penetration with people who don't know anything about games. They never heard of a Switch. They don't even though they might advertise it, they'll forget it the next minute. I think I haven't seen many commercials for it. Nothing. I see plenty of commercials for PS4. I see plenty of commercials for an Xbox, but I don't see any for Nintendo, and I think that's a big deal too. I think Nintendo kind of doesn't. They don't get it. They're just not doing as well as they could.
Well, it's
And I know the
Nintendo.
system's selling out, but there's only so few Nintendo fanboys in there. And so once all the Nintendo fanboys get their Switch, who are you going to sell to after that?
Well, that's what it's looking like right now. Like when they've hit, saturation, it's to the point where you can order a Switch and get it delivered to you in a day or two now.
All right.
Yeah, I guess if you want to play Zelda, right?
All right. Well, let's talk about the market moving forward and not staying in the same place like Nintendo. So Microsoft is apparently teaming up with Acer to put out a new VR. Acer's putting out the headset, right? And that's going to be Windows 10 compatible.
Well,
and they're putting out some motion controllers.
Right there. So what Microsoft is actually partnered with several OEMs to license like their HoloLens technology for these other vendors to develop their own VR headsets, based along like Microsoft's like standards. And Acer is just one of the first to come to market.
I see, because that's the one in this article here.
Yep.
It's a snazzy looking headset. It looks pretty simple. It looks more like the PS VR, I think, than the other headsets.
No, I think it actually looks pretty uncomfortable, to be honest.
Oh, I mean, in terms of
it
look,
doesn't look as good as well designed as a PSVR headset, or the Vive or Oculus for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's also a lot less expensive. Talking about bringing this thing to market for $400.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn good.
With the motion controls.
So yeah, definitely that comes with the two motion controllers which Microsoft did develop. And what strikes me as interesting with this headset is where you have the the Vive and the Rift, which have external cameras. Where the Vive has the two laser base stations, the Rift has its infrared cameras. The cameras on this are like of the HoloLens style. They're built into the front of
the headset, which is really interesting.
Right, and so as somebody who owns a VR headset, I'm sure Monster can testify this too also, is sometimes your hands go behind your back. So I'm thinking they're going to have to switch over to Wii U, like imprecise accelerometer mode to track like when your controllers are not in view of the camera. But it can work. I mean, it should be good enough, and it's a tremendous cost saver for them.
So you can't design games where the controllers go behind your back.
You can, just don't expect a lot of precision.
Not on a PSVR, you can. Yeah, I mean, you could go kind of behind you, but if you're blocking, like if you're shooting straight behind you, the camera won't pick it up, and obviously it's not as much of a problem on the Vive because they have the lighthouse set up and everything, but
totally different.
If you have multiple cameras. But even still, like the accelerometers on the Vive, like still work with the controllers, and if you go out of range of the camera, they can track, just not with the level of precision that the lighthouses can.
Yeah, and these little handsets that they're showing in the video here, these look pretty familiar. I mean, they look like what we're used to seeing. Little circular things with some buttons and an analog on them, right? Nothing like completely not really reinventing any kind of wheel here.
No, and for $400 for the headset and the controllers, and you don't have to worry about dedicating corners of your room to cameras or lighthouse boxes with their own wall power outlets and everything. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. That's a great price point for PC.
Mm-hmm. We could finally start to get the market opened a little bit.
No,
I'm wondering. Stagnating.
Yeah, I'm wondering about the development problems again. Is this going to be a separate SDK that this requires to play, or did they say anything about that?
I do believe I was reading that the SDK is like being openly circulated, and they have a module for it, which is a good start. But
no, that's not a solution, because the problem is right now that we have 6 different SDKs for VR, and
Well, that's up to the manufacturers, if they all want to get together and try to develop a unified SDK and roll it into
they do, and
DirectX.
it's
You're funny.
That's the problem is everybody wants theirs to be.
They want theirs.
Yeah.
No, we found it first.
Microsoft would love nothing more than to have a default SDK built into DirectX.
Yeah, that's the problem right now. I mean, that's fragmenting the market. So is that really a good thing? Is this really going to make VR more popular? I think the price point is good. Now, if only the SDK would be the same as the Vive and the Oculus, then we wouldn't have this issue. We'd be able to buy whatever VR headset we want.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen in a new space if it didn't happen already. This is a lot like, the digital rights management platforms that we see. There's Steam, there's GOG, which isn't DRM, right? But there's Origin. What do you call it? Put out fucking Glyph not too long ago. Bethesda has their own launcher. Blizzard has their own launcher.
Ubisoft's Uplay.
Ubisoft Uplay. Like if it didn't happen at inception with this market, it is only going to deviate more and more and more, just like the regular game platforms did. That boat sailed like sometime last year on the day that shit launched, and Oculus had an Oculus store. That was it. It was done right there.
I mean, let's be honest here. It's one of the main reasons PSVR is doing so well compared to the other headsets. Sure. It's because PSVR is going to only exist on the PlayStation 4. So
one platform, one.
We don't have to worry about, my friend has a PC, but they have a Vive and I have an Oculus. We can't play together.
Yeah, or this game's from the Windows Store, so I can't play with my friend on Steam.
Like I said, we're going to be able to play Bridge Crew together, but that's because the developer, which is actually Ubisoft, which scares the daylights out of me, has gone the extra mile and made sure this is going to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're a developer from that perspective, you might not want to develop for all these different SDKs, and that could be a real problem for all the code over. It's basically like developing for different platforms.
You just sat at a table and said, "Is this advantageous for us to do?" We want this game to have first of all, it's a game that's going to benefit from having 6 players or so at every round. So why not open up the floodgates to all servers across all platforms? You're not worried about stuff like Twitch being a factor, controllers versus keyboard and mouse. It's it's like Rocket League. It's a great game to open up across all platforms because it has a unified input methodology.
I mean, I think the real winner here is Unity, because they've been at the forefront, with the developers saying, "Hey, we're going to embrace your VR SDK. That's fine. We'll take you. Microsoft will take you. Oculus will take you. Steam. Everybody's welcome aboard." And that's why you're seeing a lot of these games be developed in Unity.
Same with Unreal 4.
True.
Yeah, and Unreal, yeah.
But Unreal 4 gives a lot more potential for higher system requirements, basically.
All right, so that's good stuff. Coming around the bend from Microsoft,
I look forward to seeing how this one plays out.
Yeah, this will be cool. All right, so why don't you walk us through the next one here, because I read this article a couple of times. I mean, we can always skip it, but if you want to talk about it, you can.
All right, so this is one of those awkward situations of we get to see the worst of humanity. Basically, the self-entitled jerks who will just take and take and take, and then complain when they can't get something for free. So what we've got here is there is a unofficial mod for Neir Automata called FAR, and it's basically graphical and performance improvements as an installable package. But what's unique here is the well-known developer of this mod included a Steam API validity check to make sure that if you're installing his mod, you have a valid copy of the game. And so what you ended up with were a bunch of pirates downloading this mod, and they couldn't install it.
I can't download this mod from a pirated version of the game.
Took to the interwebs and decided to just lambast this guy because they couldn't install his mod on their pirated copy of the game.
And he brings up an excellent point in why he did this. It wasn't to prevent piracy, because he can't do that as a person. He just doesn't want his mod to be redistributed by people who don't give back to the publisher and the developer.
Correct.
And he has the right to protect his own sort of intellectual property, in his own work rather, in the mod, by putting in whatever security check or validation he wants. That's within his right.
It's a mod. It's even open source. Like, anybody so inclined, and it's already been done, can go in and remove that API check. But the fact that there are people out there so self-entitled and conceited that they would complain that they can't install a mod on their pirated copy of the game, like to the developer of the mod.
Yeah, right.
It just floored me.
Also, it's Neir. It's a good game. It's not like you're down a crappy game.
I've heard it's a great game.
Yeah, it's got a well-reviewed game. I think it's 86 on Metacritic right now. So for that type of game, is very high. Yeah, so I mean, I think it's worth the price it's asking. Most people who played it seem to think that. So why not just pay for it?
Yep. I guess
It's
that's
not like some obscure Japanese game you can only get on by pirating. No, it's a readily available game. Pay for it.
I mean, come on, guys. We fought long and hard to develop this environment of, and at least for PC gaming that we have, where we basically said, you don't make these games easily available to us. This is very well. We'll make these games easily available to you. You've got Uplay, you've got Steam, you've got Green Man Gaming, who'll sell you fucking discounted keys to Steam. And if you still don't like that, wait 6 months, and the game will be 50 to 70% off, and you can buy it then. Like, just wait for your legitimate copy. Like, why?
And that shift in the market has influenced and motivated people like PlayStation and Xbox to run more regular sales. PC sales has had a direct influence on console gamers also getting a good deal on games, which is fantastic because more games purchased, the industry grows, the better off we are.
Yeah, we for the longest time made the compelling argument, and it's a true argument, that you cannot expect people to shell out $60 for every title of game that they want to play. It's just not going to happen.
This is the same modder who did the Tales of Symphonia and Tales of Berseria mod.
Yes.
So we just get to pay up.
Yep, pay up. Already paid for your Crunchyroll subscriptions and all this other bullshit that you pay monthly for. You know what? If you like anime that much and you want to pay for Crunchyroll, then pay for your awesome action adventure RPG that only comes out once every couple of years.
I'm pretty sure these people don't pay for Crunchyroll.
Maybe they do.
No,
maybe they
I mean, it's easier to pirate anime than a video game.
I think it's worth noting his explanation because this is quotable. It basically says, nothing malicious happens if you fail this check. You're just presented with an infinite license screen that you can click accept on, but since you don't respect licenses, the license doesn't respect your click.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? Just keep clicking and clicking and clicking.
Yep.
Striker's asking who plays for anime. I know lots of people who pay for their anime actually because they support the people who do translations and stuff like that.
I pay for anime.
They're willing to pay for it. It's a good service, and this is a game that scored very well and has been very well received. This modder's doing
a lot of love in this game.
This modder's doing the job of making sure that there's consistent performance on PC at 60 FPS with a better draw distance, etc. He's not asking for money. He's just asking that you pay for the game that he loves and he wants you to love it too. If you don't, then you can't download the mod. That's it. He's just gatekeeping it, and there's nothing wrong with that level of gatekeeping, I think.
And if you really want to go above and beyond to install the mod, you can.
You certainly could try.
You're a terrible, terrible person, but you can.
All right, let's talk about terrible, terrible people. Square Enix, now having recorded record profits. Actually, I'm going to read this the way that it is. Hitman as a game has done so well for them over the past year. The way that this game was developed with the seasons and like the marks that were popping up and stuff, this game was constantly all over the news for being so well created and keeping people interested and involved in it over the past year that I felt like not playing Hitman and hearing about it, I was missing out on something that was like really good.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
No, they're people like this game. People really loved the mark system, like that they would put out a new mark every now and then. There was one where like you could hunt Gary Busey. Like, they got really crazy with it.
I think people also liked the payment model they had too, where you could pay for paying chunks, you could pay for the full game outright. Yeah, I mean it had a good payment model. I think it might have been a little bit confusing with all the options.
I think it was confusing, yeah. But the game itself, the game was all right, and now Square Enix is deciding that they're going to end their relationship with IO Interactive, and I think people are kind of unhappy with that.
So does this allow IO Interactive to seek a new publisher?
I think so. I mean,
Or
at this
does,
point,
or does Square Enix have
Square
a
Enix,
solid vested stake in the intellectual property where they can't use it?
if from my understanding is Square Enix still has the Hitman IO, so I mean IP, so they'll be using that. They'll be having another publisher or developer deal with the.
Right. So they basically, this is Square Enix saying we're kind of over IO Interactive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they did a good job from what I understand on this game. So
yeah, I don't understand why Square Enix would do that. I don't know, it just seems like they're being punished for doing a good job. It's
they didn't
confusing.
sell well. That's a problem. It
Confusing
didn't
to
sell
me.
well. The game didn't sell as well as they wanted to, but the profits they made were off.
Hitman Go is such a big thing
Fantasy.
too. I think they do Hitman Go as well, right? Maybe that's a different publisher.
Probably. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Square Enix is always seems to judge things at great face value when it comes to sales numbers. I mean, we bring up pretty regularly the whole issue with the original Tomb Raider, and how they said that didn't sell well because apparently 5 million copies plus is not good for a game or something like that. I'm not sure they said anything about their most recent Deus Ex game specifically. Haven't heard anything about that, but I can't imagine that game sold more copies than Tomb Raider.
I mean, it is a shame when this happens. Like, I know Bioshock Infinite, that game did exceptionally well. It sold well too, but the studio spent too much money and they went bankrupt.
Yeah, it happens, unfortunately.
All right. Last but not least, those of you who are major Sega fanboys will find this very interesting. This is actually news that just came out last night over at, I think Jamatsu broke this story. Sega is apparently planning a, quote, revival of major IPs. So at a recent business strategy meeting, they outlined sort of what they mean in that, and this is sort of their bullet point list. So they want to expand existing IPs and obtain new IPs for North American and European PC games. They want to build revenue based by being entrusted with outsourced development. They want a challenge for new IPs. They want a revival of major IPs, and they want to have effective utilization of development engines. I guess Sega's trying to create sort of. I mean,
that means what that says to me is we're finally gonna get the Golden Axe RPG we deserve.
This also came in line with Total Warhammer selling really well, Persona 5 selling really well. They had record profits, Sega, for this quarter.
So they want to develop an engine and then build like a series of games within the engine to kind of maximize its utilization, essentially.
Yeah, I think they're realizing, a lot of these, especially these Japanese games they make, I think these Japanese games are really low when they localize it over. It's one of the reasons we're seeing a little spoiler ahead. We're going to see Vanquish come to PC.
Yeah, I saw that one.
People were really wanting Vanquish to come to PC, but Sega was being stubborn and not releasing it on PC.
That looks extraordinarily cool. I will be grabbing that one for sure.
And I don't think that any of those points are necessarily like that ambitious. I think that's kind of those are the 5 things that sort of every game publisher looks to do. Expand your market, work with engines, look for new IPs, bring back some old IPs. Like you see a lot of remasters happening this generation. Like a lot of that isn't really out of left field. But the next thing is kind of a bigger deal, I think, and it's about the digital game stuff. They're talking about creating titles that will become global hits. You can't really guarantee that. I mean, that's like saying we're going to make an esports game. You don't get to decide that, really. They want to establish a digital marketing business, which Sega doesn't currently have. Well, Blizzard is a... Listen. Blizzard's a whole nother story, right?
Just pony up $20 million. You can join our esports league. Come on.
Blizzard's totally different. They follow different rules.
Blizzard tried to make World of Warcraft esports, and that didn't work out too well.
Well, they came at the wrong time. I mean, esports was changing into something completely different at that point.
No, but it's a story I should have thrown up here of what they're doing with the Overwatch esports stuff right now.
So Sega wants to establish a digital marketing business. So do they want to just sort of sell their games on other platforms? Do they want to create their own platform? Like, that's a little vague, but it also seems like it could be really ambitious if they try to do something like that. create their own platform for distributing games like Uplay, or something like that. Like, what the hell would they call it? Sega Play? Like, I don't know. But I can see them doing it. They want to expand overseas publishing business. So I guess that's the localization stuff, right? That you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, they learned a lot from Atlas. So
Oh, yeah.
Persona made them a lot of money. That Atlas purchase was probably the best thing Sega has done in years. And they see that Persona 5, which is a very, very Japanese game. It's about Japanese high school life, and there's a lot of Japanese political theme stuff in there. And very Japanese game, but so well received in the West. I think it sold like 1.5 million copies in the West or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, nothing to scoff at, for sure. I think this other one is sort of like games as a service idea. Maintain profits through long-term operation of existing titles.
No, that sounds more like the Ubisoft model of releasing a new Assassin's Creed every year and then realizing this doesn't fucking work.
So, like, sequelizing the shit out of things, you mean? Like franchising games?
Yeah.
Okay, you can see it that way. And the
now,
last one
if handled properly, it can be done.
Can be done. I think, what you get is gamer fatigue. People just get bored of the same game every year, and you have to think about how you're going to approach that.
Again, just follow Atlas. They're doing it right. I mean, Persona, there's a long gap between Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5. I think it was like 10 years or so. But they had a few spin-off titles like Persona 4 Dancing All Night and Persona 4 Arena that they released in between. And those games did pretty well for what they were. That's what you do. You just you can still maintain those titles. Like we should have seen a new Valkyria Chronicles by now, but we didn't. And why did that happen? And instead we got some spin-off title that was not well received. I think it's releasing in the West pretty soon here, in June, I think. It wasn't well received in Japan, so I don't think it's going to do so well in the West. But why are we not getting a main series Valkyria Chronicles title? Why are we not getting a Vanquish 2? We should have a Vanquish 2 by now. It's been another generation since we had it.
Yeah, and it seems like their plan is to really shore up on those things, identify the games that people like. You'd think that would be a no-brainer, and then work on those franchises and games and make them a sequel that works.
And kill Sonic.
It's interesting because here in the West you have so many like trilogy type games. So many games that trilogies that are so popular, like Uncharted and Mass Effect and things like that. Like, I don't really see the Japanese as doing that. They kind of take a series and just kind of run with it for like 10 games or however many games they decide to make. I mean, look how many Persona games there are, how many Disgaea games there are.
It's Monster made an interesting
kind of
comment.
Crazy.
He said kill Sonic, and
oh yeah, definitely.
To a certain extent, kill Sonic at the $60 fucking AAA price point, because frankly, it's not anymore, dude. When you've got indie developers making platform games that are a third of the cost at the highest level, and they are equal, if not better, than fucking Sonic, you've got a problem. Yeah. Like, go ahead and develop Sonic, but look at your price point. Look what you're trying to develop.
Yeah, I mean,
Sonic is old school,
3D
man.
is never going to work well.
No.
You can still make 2D
yeah,
Sonic
it's
games.
not.
Yeah, totally. Go make some amazing looking, like well-designed Sonic games and sell them at like $20 each. Why not?
Put them on mobile for $5,
And they kind of do that. They've been doing that, but the Sonic games are just there's so many of them. They're releasing like 2 or 3 a year.
Is there like a Sonic Infinite Runner yet? I mean, there's probably like 10 of them, right?
There's I don't know. There's a million Sonic games, and they're all different. And it's like, just stay consistent. Make a 2D Sonic game that those games sell well. And
well, I think the last point,
the Nintendo version of DuckTales revived and it's selling better than your Sonic game, you need to rethink your design.
Yeah, and I think that the last point, which is develop next generation titles, is sort of in the vein of what we're just talking about, where you have to look at what is trending now and build your games for what today's market wants, not what yesterday's market wants all the time. Although there is some, utility and money to be had from remastering old titles that were popular and made sense. Bringing us Sonic games that are sort of like the same concept, just sort of with a new coat of paint on it, doesn't appeal to people. Like, Sonic was never that big. It was never Mario. It was never anything. It was just kind of Sonic,
I mean, it was a big deal on the Genesis, but
that's the Genesis, right?
Yeah,
what happened after the Genesis, Sega? You made the Dreamcast, and what happened after that?
Sonic is basically what a lot of these studios, those games should be like what a lot of these studios are doing now with the smaller titles. Like Ubisoft has a lot of them, or they do small indie titles, and that's what they should do. They should have a lower budget. They should have a lower price point, and they should.
I agree.
They'll make money.
They have to stop. They have to stop thinking about a game as we have to shoot for a $60 price point. Shoot for every price point. You know, make it a scatter shot. Don't just try to make every game at a single price point, because you're not going to engage everybody at $60. Not everybody wants to pay $60 for a game. With the rising cost of living in a lot of areas, $60 is a shitload of money to shell out for a game, especially for a high school kid. And at minimum wage, how many hours do you have to work to buy Persona 5? It's a lot of hours, people.
Basically 8.
Yeah,
It depends on
basically a whole shift. I mean,
yeah, basically a whole shift.
Crazy,
Whole day of work to get a game.
To get one game, and like that's crazy. All right, so we have a lot of announcements and debuts to bring you. I will work the video here while you guys chit chat about this a bit, and I'll jump in when I can. So, Core, why don't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna lead it off. So if you're a Dota 2 player, we got some interesting stuff coming your way. You're getting a co-op 4-player campaign add-on for $10. It will allow you to play a story-based campaign with 3 of your friends. I'm sure that anybody out there who's interested in Dota 2 probably knows a lot of the backstory of the world. I do not, but that's kind of interesting.
Is this something people want?
I'm interested in this. Like maybe I would actually buy Dota 2 just to have this campaign.
I don't think you have to buy it.
No, Dota 2 is free.
You have to buy the campaign, but you get the game for free.
Yeah,
right.
Everyone has Dota 2.
Hey,
I mean,
$10, dude. I spent more than that on Magicka.
Yeah, called Warcraft. That's basically what it would be. Warcraft free.
So yeah, I'm gonna be following this one. I'll check it out. And hey, who knows? Maybe it'll actually get me interested in the Dota world, and I might go out there and fucking get my ass kicked by a
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Quit your job, become an esports player.
Right.
I'm the oldest esports player in history.
You think playing Dark Souls is bad? Try playing with six teenagers and
your robot hand. Develop your.
I'm only 35, dude.
35? These people retire at like 27.
Yeah, I'm 35 in another month. No, believe me, I'm starting to feel the age.
You're only a year older than me. I just turned 34.
Yeah, turned 32.
Go play some Star Wars Battlefront, dude.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
The old reflexes ain't what they used to be. Working on it.
Yeah. They're really not.
I still play fighting games.
You do.
Not as well as I used to, but
yeah, we get old, man. Inevitability. Until the future, we all have robot limbs.
Fire burns young.
We're good.
Don't need robot weight. I'd rather have.
All right, what else do we got here? Oh yeah, BioWare. So BioWare, we know this came out a while back. BioWare's been working on their new little project. They call it Project Dylan, and they give it the weirdest name. They call it a live service. Dylan. I call it Dylan.
Dylan.
I'm calling it Dylan.
I'm gonna go with Dylan.
Who are the 5 best video game developers of all time?
Right.
Dylan,
Dylan,
and Dylan.
All right, then we're going with Dylan. All right, I concede. So, BioWare's new live service IP, which that's their direct description, Dylan, which is described as a cross between The Division and Destiny. They're delaying that one out to fiscal year 2019, and if you guys aren't familiar with that, that means sometimes towards like the end of the year into next year.
That doesn't give me any kind of faith when I hear, "Oh, we're gonna cross The Division and Destiny."
That's
what?
Look at it. It's a MOBA.
No, it's clearly a shooter.
Maybe both of those are MMO FPS, aren't they? What's a cross between an MMO FPS and an MMO FPS? It's a fucking MMO FPS.
I'm sorry. When I said fiscal year 2019, that means the end of 2018, extending into. But yeah, so I don't know. There's some video of this. I didn't find any really credible sources that had good video on it, so I didn't want to link it. But I don't know. They didn't really show a whole lot anyway. Here's a fucking trailer park, basically.
Yeah. Well, we'll bank that one. The memory there.
But here's the scary thing. They've been working on this thing since 2012.
They've made a horrible mistake. This
Now-
is
I agree.
Now is this BioWare Austin? It can't be BioWare Montreal.
I do not know. It's not Montreal. I'm not sure which BioWare studio it is.
I think it's hilarious though that all these companies keep coming out with MOBAs and they don't want to call them MOBA because they know that calling it a MOBA would be a disaster.
You think this is going to be a
They know they
MOBA?
made a mistake by making a MOBA.
Are we talking MOBAs or are we talking like hero shooters like Overwatch and so
They're
forth?
still MOBAs.
Yeah,
Yeah, but-
they're kind of just
Yeah,
MOBAs
alright.
in first person. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what they are. Quake Champions. It's Paladins.
And the problem is, if you make one right now, there's no way that's going to sell.
Yeah,
This is a mistake.
You
So,
can't defeat.
What do you guys
Blizzard.
think? Chances of seeing this thing make the light of day?
0.
We'll see it
Fair.
make the light
I'm
of
gonna
day.
go with
It's not gonna
0.
sell anything.
I don't know, man. Like you work on a project for 7 years.
You're gonna make the mistake of trying to launch
Unless
it.
you're
at, like,
making Duke Nukem, dude, you better show something.
it's gonna be too late to the party, or they're gonna try to sell it at $40, and then eventually it's gonna go free to play with like a character pack, and it'll be an evolve situation again. Good job, BioWare. Let's waste your money on this. Forget about making good games. Just it's done, I guess.
Yeah, and you guys go work on Star Wars.
Yeah, you guys work on Star Wars. You guys twiddle your thumbs making a MOBA.
This is phenomenal management, dude. I'm pretty sure I could get a management position at EA.
Yeah.
I can make a bunch of terrible decisions all day long.
Do you think EA told them, hey, go make a MOBA?
I have
Or
no
go make a
know
hero
that.
shooter?
EA specifically said that.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
I think they might have.
They're not going to take credit for it, so that when it flops, they're going to be like, and we're going to do with BioWare like we did with Maxis and all those other great companies. We're going to fucking get rid of them. Pretend like they never existed. And all the Mass Effect games will go on sale for like $1. It'll happen.
We'll see.
All right, next.
Next, we have this one came across my way, and it was a short little video clip, and I thought it was really interesting. It is Ad Infinitum. It is a horror, probably survival game set in the European World War I like setting. So you're running through trenches, and there's crazy alien like frost monsters there, and we don't see any combat. We don't really see any actual gameplay. This could be an actual runaway survival horror, or there may be some shooters here. We don't know, but I don't know. The setting and the concept, like I just found it really interesting. It hasn't been done before, and it's a good concept for them to play with.
Yeah, the
that's
trailer doesn't
definitely-
have enough.
This definitely caught my attention, though. I mean, I'm going to keep an eye on this game because that's
Yeah,
definitely something new.
Like survival horrors are great when they're in a really good setting with monsters that you find absolutely terrifying. And
They've got good atmosphere, yeah.
yeah, like he's guy's walking through this trench and he looks up at this kind of like armored embattlement, and this claw just rakes across it, and then comes around a corner and there's this, I don't even know what you call it, some huge like kind of like frost giant monster standing there, and you're just like, well, okay, that would probably scare me.
Would probably scare me too.
So I'm gonna need to tap some console guys for the next one. So I'm sure I'm gonna get caught on the pronunciation from this one, but Parapper and is it Unidon developers join and announce new Project Rap Rabbit.
Oundon and
Oundon.
Parappa.
So-
Parappa.
Instead of having some kind of ambiguous dog, they're going to have a rabbit for this one, and he's going to rap. That's what I get from it.
It's Parappa the Rappa.
Essentially, it's Parappa the
Like
Rappo.
under a new IP.
Which,
Yeah, something like that.
which could be neat. Like, those games were fun on their own. They were very corny, but they were kind of fun.
There was a niche there for a little while, and I think it's come and gone, guys.
I don't
think
know.
it's still
we'll
there.
see. They might. But yeah, we need something more than this teaser.
Yes, this is
I agree. But it's an announcement, so
trailer.
we're okay. So next we have Paradox, whom I'm absolutely enamored with because they're a phenomenal publisher. Apparently, they've been putting out some great games, some great developers, but they have announced a new colony sim called Surviving Mars, and they teamed up with I believe it's called Hamamont, And if you're not familiar with Hitman, they have been developing the Tropico games for like the last few iterations, Tropico 3, 4, and 5,
yes. Okay.
which are great games. If you haven't played them, you really owe it yourself to pick them up on a sale. They're great kind of just like city building sims with a lot of like political overtones. You get to be El Presidente and decide if is your island going to be this, huge like totalitarian like communist regime, or are you going to embrace democracy? And, are you going to rig elections, or let the people be free? But the fact that these guys are going to do it on Mars, that's actually really enlightening. And the fact
turning it up a notch,
right? And the fact that we're seeing like in-engine gameplay of these kind of Martian explorers absolutely being inept, trying to put together their habitat. I don't know. I find it interesting.
You do like those building games?
I do like building games. I like colony sims and economic simulators along these lines.
Kind of amazing you never just became a civil engineer.
I mean, we could call this in-engine gameplay, but it's cutscenes.
Not far from it. I'm basically an industrial automation engineer.
Okay, yeah. You automate the stuff that makes the buildings, maybe.
More or less.
All right. So here we go, just straight up with.
So yeah, we're gonna turn this one over to Monster because he has these ones down pat.
Oh, I do.
Well, you posted them.
All right. Well, we got Bloody Zombies, which is a VR. We'll have VR sports. You could also play it without VR.
It's Streets of Rage, right?
Yeah, Streets of Rage is zombies. If you think putting zombies in your game is a clever idea, you are a fucking zombie.
You're about 7 or 8 years late. Maybe 15.
Yeah, I would say even more than that. Like, zombies were a staple enemy back then, but they might not have been as old as they are now. But I'm just sick of anything with zombies in it. I immediately put off.
Yeah, at this point, it's getting a little old, guys.
It's so bad.
Stop watching. I didn't even watch Walking Dead this season because I was like,
More zombies. Yeah.
Tired of zombies. Zombies everywhere.
So just stop, please, developers. I don't want to see any more zombies in games for at least another 10 years.
Oh, well, here's the other games that Paradox is good at. So they're making BattleTech, the next BattleTech game.
Well, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're
publishing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Paradox decided to pick up the BattleTech Kickstarter. This is from the creators of Shadowrun Returns.
Yeah, this is more a like tabletop BattleTech. It's turn-based, but it rendered in 3D.
Cool.
Yeah, this looks really cool.
Yeah, it does look really cool.
This looks like something we should play together.
I concur with that one.
We know how much you all love mechs.
Well, I think we'll get Papa J back on board if we do this one.
You hear all those acronyms again.
Oh yeah, our giant stompy robot acronyms. You have your PPC with your LRM-20.
Yeah. Listen, that always gave me a headache. I'll never understand.
Yeah, we're sorry for that.
That's okay.
All right, we got.
Backstory: a couple of us played MechWarrior online because we came a long line of people who played actual tabletop like BattleTech in the way back in the day. So all these acronyms were second nature to us. So we started playing MechWarrior online and got involved in the chat, and there'd be like 3 or 4 of us talking about mech builds, and it was literally just a constant stream of like 3 or 4 letter acronyms.
All right, so we got a little bit of a troll here. There's some screenshots posted online, and it was a Wild West oriented screenshots, and everyone thought this was Red Dead Redemption 2.
Everybody thought this. It's crazy.
Everybody thought it, except reasonable people.
Except reasonable people.
Rockstar just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't do that, and I don't really think it looks. The art style is kind of different from Red Dead Redemption 2.
When Rockstar is ready to announce a game, they freaking announce it in style.
Yeah, I think Rockstar would go for a bit higher fidelity on the graphics. I think the art style would look a little bit different than it does now.
I don't know about the I mean, we're talking. This is an MMO, and I mean GTA 5 doesn't exactly look like some high fidelity graphic game. So when you talk about online, you cut a lot of corners in terms of graphical fidelity.
Which GTA 5 did you play?
I'm saying if you're mixing this up with Red Dead Redemption 2. It doesn't look like Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm
What
sorry.
I'm saying is that GTA 5 doesn't look like Need for Speed or
No.
Forza or Assetto Corsa is what I.
So you're talking style wise.
Yeah. If it's online, they tend to dumb the graphics down a little bit.
But I think it was pretty obvious that this is not Red Dead Redemption.
It's definitely not Red Dead Redemption.
This is Wild West Online. We don't have any video of this. It's just screenshots.
Screenshots that you can check out at PC Gamer.
Some very basic information. It'll be a PvP, open world PvP MMO. They're gonna do a Kickstarter probably at $250,000, and not much else. So I would wait for the Kickstarter in this one. A Wild West themed MMO does sound pretty interesting.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I think it does. We see so much sci-fi and so much medieval fantasy. We forget that Wild West actually is kind of its own theme. I think people moved past it sometime in the 20th century. We just stopped finding Western stuff interesting. Western movies stopped being produced, and I think Secret Agent took over that genre.
It's kind of like interesting that you say that, because I live in Southern California, and like my entire family, has annual passes to Disneyland, and the last few times I've been there, like we go through like the Frontierland section area, and I'm like, how much longer can this possibly be relevant? Because they've pretty much done away with like everything that could possibly be considered like politically incorrect these days. Like you don't see the Indian war camp. They don't call the canoes the Indian war canoes anymore. It's kind of something we've acknowledged, that we did a bad thing here and we scrubbed from history. So
yes,
I'm curious to see what direction they're going to go with this game.
Yeah.
Is this going to be like Cowboys versus Indians, or is this going to be more like kind of like Westworld, like simulation style? Everyone just kind of out there wearing their fucking dungarees with fucking 6-shooters, just have them doing whatever they want to do.
Westworld is a good point. That's definitely very much a Western kind of show that is very popular. So few and far between nowadays.
I'm not sure if you call Westworld politically correct.
No,
but it is popular. Popular in the way that Game of Thrones is popular.
Is that the kind of view they're trying to take with this game? Because clearly the old popular like Cowboys versus Indians, that's a no-go anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely off the you can't do that. Can't sell that anymore. All right. We've got a trailer for a game called Playbook, where you play in a world of clay. And it is a really, really crappy teaser trailer that tells you basically what most teaser trailers tell you about the game, which is nothing. But it is colorful and it has delightful music. Yeah.
I wonder if they're just going for a sandbox feel here. And
Maybe.
Is it going to be like a platformer or a sandbox, or we don't really know. It doesn't. It tells us rewind and time and create new chapters and whatever. But
there'll be like challenges.
Going for the create feel to it, but they need to tell us more here.
Yeah, it's going for like a little Big Planet kind of feel, I guess. Who knows?
All right, so are we going to talk about this one? Because prior to the podcast, Monster was asking which game he's most excited about, and this was my choice. And I'm hoping I'm correct.
Which game I'm most excited about?
Yeah, Vanquish.
No.
No, really?
But it's PEGI 18. So why is Vanquish a big deal? Tell me.
Here's the reason why I'm not excited about Vanquish. Because if I wanted to play Vanquish, I could go play it on PlayStation now and get trophies. I mean, this is a PS3 and Xbox 360 game.
So this actually looks like it's being rendered at a higher resolution than a PS3 game. Like, have they actually done like a remastered version of that?
I mean, it's Sega. Their remasters have been pretty good.
Right?
Their ports to PC have been pretty good. They have higher resolutions, and Valkyria Chronicles very good port. It wasn't the best port ever, but it did a decent job.
So it's Gears of War meets Bullet Time.
It's a Platinum's game, so it's just ridiculous.
Super high action bullet hell.
Yeah.
Time dilation.
Dude, it looks
neat. Absolutely
it really,
ridiculous.
really looks fun.
Looks a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, it goes balls to wall, punches shit out shut, blow stuff up. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a platinum game, and it's one of the better received platinum games. So, and people have been asking for this game to be ported since pretty much forever.
Here it is.
It was one of the initial things, like before Sega released Valkyria Chronicles. There was a big petition up that released a bunch of Sega games to PC, including Valkyria Chronicles, and this was on there. And then the petition continued for years and years and years after they released Valkyria Chronicles, and they still wanted Vanquish, and we got Vanquish, so another victory.
So do we know like price and PC platforms? Like, is it gonna be a Steam game at like
Steam, yeah,
$30, $40, $50?
I'm gonna guess $20, but that's my guess.
I'm gonna put it at 40 right now. I'll tell you that.
You think 40?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking 40.
Let me see. I think it might be on Steam right now for pre-order.
It might not have the price if it's pre-order. Steam is weird.
Yes,
like that.
it is. It is on. I was correct.
Yeah.
$20.
Nah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
May
sold.
25th.
Okay.
Guess I'll be talking about Vanquish next podcast.
Yeah, that's right around the corner here. 10 days. All right, next. We have a game called Code Vein, which to me basically looks like a Dark Souls kind of game.
Yep, this looked interesting. Probably not the gray, but
No, not really. Yeah, I mean, it just looks very Dark Souls.
let's see if I thought it was interesting. So it's basically like anime Dark Souls.
That's what Dark Souls needed.
Yeah, you're like these vampire type dudes, and there's a female one and a male one they show in the trailer, and they both fight alongside. But yeah, it's very very much Dark Souls. I think Namco Bandai is going for the Dark Souls feel here.
Yeah, this is very macabre and dark and creepy.
It'll probably sell pretty well too, because Dark Souls type games tend to sell well. It looks better than Lords of the Fallen, but not as good as Dark Souls in my opinion. The combat needs a little bit more weight to it, but that can improve over time. I know a lot of people complained about that in the trailer, but I'm interested in this game. It looks pretty cool.
All right.
Need some more Dark Souls type games for me to throw my controller at.
Yeah, bang your head against the wall for. This next one is called Raiders of the Broken Planet. This one is basically like a MOBA. Although
It's a MOBA.
I think it's going to have a single player campaign, although I think it is. I'm not sure. Don't
Yeah,
remember.
it's a MOBA.
But it is essentially a hero shooter MOBA. Really, it's and honestly, the graphics in this one are not as good.
This is from some pedigree
Not
developer. I
very
don't remember
good.
who. I think it was from like the Assassin's Creed team or something. I don't remember. But yeah, it's a MOBA. I'm still not interested. Just another set of heroes you have, and they have different abilities.
That
It doesn't
was
look
not
particularly
selling me at
good
all.
either.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a meh.
Another one of these games, another shooter.
It's just the
with
next
heroes.
big thing. It's that everyone's
and
trying to
look, you have
capture.
cover shooter.
This big thing. Everyone's trying
Exciting.
to duplicate that Overwatch money.
Yeah,
It's like
cover
that
shooter,
WoW
and then
money.
you go in and melee combat. Yeah, it's Gears of War, but MOBAs.
Ugh. Ugh.
Don't do it, please.
I mean, there are people
Zombies.
out there who are going to try all of these games until they find the
This
one
game
that they
needs a
really
zombie
like.
hero. And zombie
It does
enemies.
not need no. Leave zombies. Listen, zombies don't belong everywhere. Okay. Nope, they definitely don't belong here.
All right, we got a game I think looks pretty interesting. Moonlighter. It looks like a mix between Recitier, which is where you run like a item shop in an RPG world, and Zelda type game. So it looks like it has like a lot of trading aspects to it. You do a lot of crafting, and then you do some dungeon stuff on top of that.
Is this a roguelike, by the way?
Probably. I'm not 100% sure if it's a roguelike or not. But I mean, it looks interesting. I mean, it's got that kind of pixel art style, but it's upgraded.
It's got
enough
good
to the point where
animations.
It's not really pixel art.
Yeah, it's got fluid
just- it
animations
looks
and
good.
stuff.
It looks good.
It's solid.
Yeah.
I like the way it looks too. Core, I'm sure, hates it.
What do you think, Core? Is he gone?
I have no interest in this game whatsoever.
He probably watched 3 seconds of the trailer and was like, "Fuck it."
My comment says it all.
Not
Dude.
doing it.
Like, why? Why did you even put this here?
Someone keeps hitting the number 2. Driving me crazy. All right, this next one, I'm actually going to bring it right in the middle of this trailer here. It's called Ancestors, and it's kind of like that game what's that game that just came out? That looks almost exactly like this. For Honor.
For Honor, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a For Honor style game. Yeah, you walk around and you like little dudes. I'm sure that there is some great story behind this game, but it is lost on me in this trailer.
I think you're Vikings.
If you've ever wanted to jump up a Viking longboat with a freaking 2-handed axe in your hand and just go to town, this is your game.
Yeah, this is the game.
So, I heard this might be an RTS.
What?
Really?
You know, you can't really tell from the trailer.
What? Wait, what?
Oh, that would be surprising. That would be like.
I'm not
God.
sure though. It might be an action game. I don't know.
I don't know either, man. Sometimes these trailers are kind of vague, so.
Yeah, because this doesn't look like. This looks very pre-rendered.
It does, yeah. This doesn't look like actual gameplay. No, but
It looks in engine, but yeah, I'm wondering if it is gameplay.
I wonder if this has some kind of like genealogy stuff to it on the RTS side that you might be talking about.
Dude, it zooms out at the end.
Yeah, because the guy dies at the end, but it seems like the game goes on in some way. It's sort of alluding to that.
We'll have to see more about it. It just says coming soon. It doesn't tell you much about the game. Maybe there's more information out there somewhere, but I have no idea where.
I'm just hoping, like you said, RTS. I'm hoping it's not like some massive like bait and switch like Brutal Legend was, where you're playing this kind of like action third-person game. All of a sudden, it's like, oh hey, guess what? You get to play a real-time strategy game now.
Well, according to their YouTube description, Ancestors is a historically accurate real-time strategy game influenced by historical events in the Middle Ages. So yeah, it is an RTS of some kind.
So their little trailer there is not representative of gameplay.
Not, I mean, at least not the RTS that
maybe
we're aware
maybe you
of.
watch the units fight like in real time. Like
Could be. It could be like
Yeah,
Mount
maybe.
Blade, where you do have to set up like your battle plan, your attack, and you actually join the battle. I'll give them that.
Could be, yeah, could be.
I really wish they would stop doing trailers like that. Just tell us about how is this game gonna play?
But yeah,
That's what
they're
I wanna
trying
know.
to
I don't know the
showcase
damn game
showcasing graphic and
by
other
your title
effects.
and everything.
We're gonna see a lot of this as we start to see more 4K trailers, where they're just trying to sell us graphics and lighting effects and shit like that.
I don't want to read about your damn game and the wall text or everything. Just show me in the damn trailer. Show me.
That's what a trailer's for.
Okay, and then we have another game. I have no idea what it's about. Not Face of Nightmare, or Nightmare from Beyond is the title.
That's
It's a
because
third-person platformer inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft.
but
So-
the teaser trailer is bad.
See, you can't. That trailer tells me nothing about
Yeah,
that.
it's a
and that's
really
problem.
bad trailer. It just
no,
kind
the
of
description tells you all you need to know.
all
Even
you're
the
gonna get.
description isn't going to tell me too much about the game.
We can do descriptions for all of these. This next one is
Yeah,
a
we
VR
might have
game.
to.
This next one is a VR
Yeah,
game.
this one I could see it being hard to sell in the trailer because it's a VR game. But
Actually, it's a
think they
little
did enough game
disorienting in the trailer, to be honest.
Yeah. But it's like it's called Moonshot Galaxy. It's for PSVR. I don't know if it's for the other VR because it just seems to be PSVR right now. It's like a mix. It's just like a mix of mini games. It looks like you do some golfing, and there's some weird things around it, and
Yeah.
or like sandbags the elements to it maybe.
The description is saying that there's going to be like leaderboards and stuff, so it's supposed to be like a challenge-based kind of game.
Yeah, it's like
Get
a
better at the
challenge-based
minigames.
golfing. I know I played a Flash game that was like this kind of, where you would basically do putt-putt on different planets, and the gravity would be different on the planets, so you would have to. It was a really interesting
That's neat.
Flash game, actually.
Yeah, that's neat.
And that's what I'm guessing they're going for, and then they have all these like different physics type objects here going on. What do you call those machines?
Rube Goldberg.
The Rube Goldberg, yeah, Rube Goldberg machines. Yeah, I mean, it's something that would only probably work well in VR.
Yeah, because it would be boring otherwise to watch that kind of thing happen.
And it's probably going to be a super short game. But, yeah, if it's priced right, it might be worth picking up. I might pick it up, play it a little bit, casually.
So this next one is called Aporia Beyond the Valley. This is an announcement teaser trailer as well. And they're touting it as a first-person adventure puzzle game set in a beautifully realistic world.
It's missed.
Beautifully realized world.
Yeah, I mean, a trailer at least shows us what the game's about.
Yes, it shows you interacting with puzzle things and looking through landscapes.
This game needs to be in VR.
This game could do VR, yeah.
Their art direction and design is extraordinary. It looks really good, but I don't know if the gameplay.
Well, you know, we've had. I mean, The Witness was a decent puzzler.
Sure.
Could have done VR too, actually. Puzzle games are still very much alive. I mean, Talos Principle was a good one too. You know, I like that. I like those kind of games. They challenge me.
No, I'm not writing this one off. I'm just saying, like, all I see is some beautifully rendered environments and some puzzles. Kind of want to know a little bit more.
Well, it is just an announcement trailer.
Reveal the puzzle, so we'll probably have to wait for reviews on this one.
No, but every good puzzle game has a story behind it that is sometimes very compelling. Talos certainly had that. The Witness had that. So I think the big one here that was announced is Darksiders 3. We're seeing some gameplay from that now on the stream. You know, Darksiders is a series that this has a pretty good following. Darksiders 1, which is the only one of the series I've played. I enjoyed it actually a great deal. Darksiders 2 didn't get into it so much. I think Seifer really enjoyed those games. I'm sure he's psyched about this one. But, Darksiders is an action-adventure game where it's a lot of platforming, a lot of action combat, all that kind of good stuff.
No, I have a couple of the Darksiders titles, and they're okay.
Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, it looks okay. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look like it's doing anything too special.
No. Great time filler games because they're just so hack and slash.
Oh, because we have so much time these days.
They're just very hack and slash.
Yeah, no time to play games.
All right, this next one is yet another announcement type launch teaser trailer. It's called The Long Dark. We've heard about this one before.
Yes, we have.
It is a thoughtful exploration survival experience that challenges solo players to think for themselves as they explore an expansive frozen wilderness in the aftermath of a geomagnetic disaster. And they specifically say there are no zombies. Good on you, Long Dark. Good on you.
I agree.
This is
You've already got a plus on my book.
This is from Hinterland Studios. Good job. Good job. No zombies. You're the man, all of you.
That's all you have to say now.
That's literally what it says on their YouTube trailer.
You may get mauled by a bear.
You will probably get mauled by a bear. I mean,
most likely.
Wilderness is still the wilderness.
But not a zombie bear.
No, yeah, definitely not a zombie bear. All right, let's wrap these up so we can get onto the upcoming games. I'm excited. So excited.
All right, we got another teaser trailer. It's the Wayward Isles.
Ugh.
And this one probably doesn't tell us too much about the game, unfortunately. Let's see what the description says.
Crazy.
It's an action and exploration game set within a completely open island environment. Great. That didn't tell us about the game either.
How many of those words were generic and vague? Let's count them.
Action,
exploration, game.
Completely open island
Environment. Like, wow, you guys had like 10 words in your sentence. Like 6 of them were the most generic shit you possibly could have used to describe your fucking game.
Oh, they said game too.
Come on. Be a little more imaginative than that. But I mean,
it's a cult classic Korean horror. Come on, man.
I mean, really, they could have anything. I don't know. All right, we've got
the next month. The cult classic Korean horror.
White Day, a labyrinth named school, is getting a Western release. is the actual title of the game.
Yes, it's not a Japanese title; it's a Korean title.
This game, which is called White Day: A Labyrinth Named School, is a true classic in the horror genre, widely regarded as one of the greatest pure horror games ever created. It has now been completely remade for modern gamers. So there you go. It's coming in August.
Is this going to have the VR version? Because I know they were working on
this is coming from a culture who is afraid to sleep with a fan running in their room. So I really question the horror.
Are they?
Yes.
Well, that's the true survival horror because the fan could, I don't know, become sentient.
No, it will suck all the air out of the room and you'll suffocate.
It could do that. It could try to kill you. Someone could use it as a weapon. Fans are dangerous.
Be North Korean.
It could be
No, this is a popular South Korean held belief.
That's a little crazy.
I'm saying that fan could be North Korean.
I'm just saying you don't go to sleep with a fan in South Korea, dude. You just don't.
I see. I wasn't aware of this, so now I know this cultural taboo exists.
Now look it up. You'll be amazed.
Okay. I'll use some of my time to do that later. All right. Next up, we've got Shrouded Isle. Shrouded Isle is a human sacrifice cult simulator.
Yeah, so we don't see anything too much of it in a trailer, but I think that concept sounds pretty interesting.
It's very green.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they do set the mood a little bit in the trailer, but I want to see what the gameplay is like.
Sacrificing humans.
Certainly something different. Yeah, it's a cult simulator.
Drink the Kool-Aid, kill bitches.
One of us.
One of us. Use this sacrificial knife to stab your friend. Kill your parents. Kill your parents. All right, last but not least, Operation Babel. New Tokyo Legacy.
This is a Western release for you guessed it, Japanese game.
Joy of joys. My life is now complete.
It's a dungeon RPG from experience. I make a lot of dungeon RPGs. I believe this is the third version in the series, the third game in the series. I played the one before it, the second one. As far as experience RPGs goes, I think it was probably the worst one I played for them. I don't know if this one's going to improve or not, but experience has a lot of experience developing these types of games. So you see what I did there?
Yeah, no, I see exactly what you did there.
So that's completely unintentional.
That's what makes it better.
Yeah,
you've enhanced the podcast. Great.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a bad game per se. It was just a pretty average dungeon RPG, and I love dungeon RPGs, so it wasn't a bad game for me, but it wasn't a good dungeon RPG. That's that.
All right, so that's all of the announcements and debuts that we have had over the past 2 weeks, with some exception, I'm sure. I don't think we got them all, but that was a hell of a long list from Dota 2 to New Tokyo Legacy. So now AM Monster is going to spend 3 minutes or less, preferably, talking about some crazy Japanese game that may not come to the West at all, but that he wants you to know about, probably because it has some kind of racy theme or schoolgirls or upskirt shots or large breasts or something of that nature. That he is secretly into and probably faps to, but won't say that on the podcast because that would be, I don't know, rude.
I definitely fap to it.
All right. Everything I just said. Tell us about the game.
We got Sengoku Hime Nana Senun Suranku Guren no Ishi.
All right. Moonspeak translation.
Yes. Here's what I can figure out for the translation, and this is rough, very rough, because this does not have an English title. Sengoku Princess 7 to go through the front of war, Crimson's dying wish.
Okay.
So it is a strategy RPG with set in the Sengoku era, with princesses that fight warring, and it has visual novel elements to it because, of course, it's Japanese. And yes, fan service.
I see.
That's pretty much all we need to say about that game. I have no idea. I don't think this
I
has
have no
any
idea.
stage.
Okay.
No idea why. I just don't. I don't know why. And I don't think this game will ever make it to the West. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm really hoping it doesn't. But I guess I really don't have a pony in this race, so I could care less.
But I look. Hey, I had options of like 20 different visual novels, ranging from Otome to Boys Love to just straight up white male dating sims. Well, Japanese male dating sims.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'm glad you.
This one because it had gameplay.
Yeah, I guess I'm glad you chose wisely. I suppose. All right. So yeah, that's maybe never coming here ever again. So you can watch the trailer. It's interesting. Okay, so we've got the upcoming games for you from May 15th through May 28th, leading right up to the next podcast. Anything that's in early access, we'll let you know. So on May 16th, coming up first, we have a game called Akiba's Beat, coming for PlayStation 4 and the PS Vita. Is there anything you want to briefly tell us about this interesting game?
It's based on Akiba. Akiba is an Akihabara. Harbor. Am I even saying that right? I don't know the name of the city. So some weeb I am, right?
Yeah, I know you're failing hardcore, man. You even got a body pillow.
I can't even think of it right now.
What's going on with you? Revoke your weeb card, and your Crunchyroll subscription will be taken away from you.
Yeah, it's based on Akiba Undead Undress, which was a game about ripping clothes off vampires to expose them to sunlight. Because that's how you kill vampires, right?
I know. I remember that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
And I mean, it was a decent,
probably forgot
decently
about it.
received game. Surprisingly enough, some people liked it, some people didn't like it.
Oh, it's actually not a bad concept for a game. I mean, if you're gonna rip clothes off chicks, they might as well be vampires. They might as well be killing them.
Actually, it was male characters too. You ripped the clothes off of.
Listen, we know why the concept was devised. Okay.
Well, yeah, the fan service is geared towards men, but they treat the male characters kind of equally.
That's good. That's very progressive of the Japanese
people.
But
they're making a more traditional action RPG type. I think it's an action RPG for this game. I actually, for some reason, pre-ordered this one. I have no idea why.
For some reason,
and I don't even know why I still had a pre-order because I meant to cancel it but never did.
Okay.
So, yeah, I might be playing this one when I actually have time, which maybe never.
Maybe never.
It looks kind of like Tales of games, but maybe a bit older Tales of games.
These fucking trailers look the same to me.
No,
they all look the same. The way that they're presented, they all look the same.
It's a Vita game. It looks like a Vita game.
They all look the same. Anyway, coming up next, if I can get it to switch, is nope. I don't want that on there. I want that on there. Yeah. This is an action RPG called The Surge, which is coming to PC, Xbox One, and PS4. There's a pretty long gameplay trailer or video for this on YouTube that is kind of, I guess, some of the opening bits of this game. Makes it look kind of boring. But if you're
it looks like it's going for a Bethesda feel to it. Maybe not hitting that mark.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see where you're coming at with that one. It is going for some kind of complex upgrade system, yes, where you have some kind of like cybernetic implants in your body and you're upgrading your tech and shit like that. Check it out if you're interested. If that sounds at all up your alley, I would say.
I don't think I could find a good gameplay trailer for that. That's why I had to do the IGN footage.
Yeah, I kind of skipped through that. I was like, when you're watching game reviewers play games, it's a little. I guess it's more of an organic feel because this is kind of how you're gonna play the game. Not like the developer who plays it and knows how to beat it. Like,
I don't think it looks that terrible, to be honest.
No, it's not terrible. But again,
it's kind of like you talked about earlier. Lords of the Fallen. It looks like the same budget level.
Yeah, kind of.
The game didn't do too well. I was trying to mimic Dark Souls, and it just turned out to be an okay game.
Yeah, this is more of a single-player action RPG kind of thing. It could be all right. Well, we'll see. The next one on the list here is called Farpoint. This is one of the ones that AI is interested in, right?
Yeah, I talked about it. I'm interested mostly for the controller because you can pre-order the game, and it's the only ways right now to get the PSVR aim controller. I think it was $80 a pre-order, but obviously I'm getting a controller too on top of that, so I think it's a pretty good investment. Yeah, but it's a shooter set in space. I think Naughtius might like this type of game. Corey might like this type of game.
I've been watching it.
Yeah, I think it's right up your alley. I think I'll enjoy it too. I don't think it'll be a bad game. I just think it'll be. I'm just not sure. It's like Sony's been really hyping this game for PSVR. It's the only really PSVR game they've been hyping up. So it'll be interesting to see if it really matches that hype. If this is like the PSVR game you have to get, along with Resident Evil.
So it's been a huge problem, like in VR. Like the developers for the longest time have been very, very afraid of giving the player free movement, like within their VR environment.
Yeah.
Like allowing them to move because they're so afraid of people getting motion sick. And I'm like, take some fucking Dramamine, dude. Like embrace it, just go.
I don't even take. I could play it without taking.
No, I said, in the early days of the Oculus, like the developers' kits, dude, I was playing Team Fortress 2 in my VR headset, and I was fine.
Yeah, and this game doesn't give a shit. It's like, you're gonna be moving around.
Yeah, you're gonna be moving around. If you're prone to motion sickness, you may get sick. Deal with it.
It's so much better than the rail shooters we've been seeing. So I'm interested to see.
We have been playing it conservatively for too long in like shooters. Like, look, let people go. Let them. If they're gonna get sick, they're gonna get sick. They're gonna stop playing a game. Sucks, but it happens, dude. But the bulk of the people, they can take it.
All right. That's far.
I think the trailer does a pretty good job showing.
I think it's great.
It's just hard for PSVR.
I was locked in while you guys were talking about that. Like, it looks pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, I like it.
It's like, I'm sorry if you get motion sick, dude, but you got options out there.
Well, hopefully I'll be over this sickness. I could put my headset on and play some and let you guys know how good it is or bad it is.
Forward to your review. Next up, on May 16th, Injustice 2 is finally releasing for those who are interested in your superhero fighting game. It's coming for PS4 and Xbone.
Now, see, it's such a shame this game looks so great, but I know it's going to be terrible because it has the microtransactions all over the place and the gear upgrades in a fighting game, and it's like, why would you do this?
Because
fighting
they
games
can.
Competitive games, and I feel like they're trying to just pigeonhole a lot of stuff into it to try to make it unique. And I mean, the actual fighting and the animations and everything in the game and everything. The characters kind of look like not so great. But...
did you see the Flash special where like the Flash instant kill special or whatever? Literally grabs your body and then runs so fast back through time and like drags your body through a whole bunch of bullshit and then runs back into the present and hits you with your own body. It's pretty awesome.
In the previous one, he would like run around the world several times and then just punch you at the end.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
I like how creative they get with this shit.
Really freaking awesome sequences, like the transitions, like in Mortal Kombat, where you used to do stage transitions. They had those in the game, and they look really awesome. And the super moves, of course, look really awesome. I think Injustice was a great game. But it did suffer from some problems caused by Warner Brothers, and this one's going to suffer from even more problems caused by Warner Brothers.
Same problems. But, what it does highlight is that there are still developers out there that really know how to have fun with something like this. And it's great that they're able to bring that creative vision into a game like this where it's superheroes, it's meant to be wacky and zany a little bit, and they add ridiculous stuff into it, and I love watching those kind of videos.
Yeah, and it has the cheesy one-liners in the
those are good.
I mean, they did a really good job on the aesthetics and everything, and making it feel like a superhero game. And They did it before. They're the same the old Acclaim developers, the old Mortal Kombat developers are the same ones. So I feel really bad that Warner Brothers is their publisher, but that's
isn't that a shame?
Yeah, it's kind of like BioWare and EA.
All right, next up, Cooking Mama for 3DS. So you bake and cook stuff, and you have to like give it out and deliver it, right? That's the whole point of Cooking Mama?
It's a Cooking Mama game.
Yeah, okay.
There's like mini games you play or something. I don't know. I never played any of these games.
All right, we can just stop talking about it right there. What's the next one about?
It's for the 3DS. It's a game coming for the 3DS. You need this because you bought a Switch, but we still want you to buy 3DS games.
Yep. We haven't quite merged those markets yet.
Yeah, they're trying to do away with the free. But they did announce a few 3DS games coming out, so I guess we're not going to completely write off the 3DS yet.
Not yet. I'm gonna wait. We're gonna wait till the Switch is nice and saturated and everyone's got one, and then they're gonna yank that cord out from under you. All right, what is this next game here?
I feel like we talked about this one before, but for some reason it showed up again as a release. So I don't know if it's the PS Vita release or it didn't say it was on other systems. So we got Haku Oki Kyoto Wins. I think it's an Otome game with samurai boys.
We need another one of those.
Yeah. That's a mating game. It's one female being romanced by men. You could choose. It's like the dating simulator for women. So that's what it is.
All right.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
Vita only has 1 million of them.
Yeah, there's 1,000,001 now.
Yeah, so way more to go. It's going to be the Vita's legacy.
Yeah, just like next one, which we just talked about not too long ago, Operation Babel or Babel. New Tokyo Legacy is coming out on the 16th for PS Vita and PC. Just to remind you,
yeah,
you forgot. All right, so the next two.
All right, we got the most brain dead decision ever. So we got Thumper, which is a PSVR game. It's kind of like you're on rails and you switch between different rails, but it's a rhythm game on top of it and a horror game on top of it.
Wait, this has horror elements?
Yes, it's very trippy in VR. People are saying it's very, very scary. You fight. There's like bosses at the end that are very, very much like Kung Fu, Lovecraft inspired.
They've intentionally kept that stuff out of the trailer, then.
Yeah, well, it gets trippier and trippier. I mean, just think of it in VR, and that's the problem. This game is not going to work outside of VR. It's just not. Yeah. So why is it
scary in your face?
Why? What's the point? I don't
Switch needs games.
Yeah, but
that's why.
I mean, I think you could play this outside VR on PlayStation, but why would you want to? And you see at the end. There's like
I'm seeing it now. Yeah, I guess I didn't catch that stuff before because I've seen this trailer before. Yeah, I see that the creepy monsters in the background. Yeah, that would be better in your face than anything else.
Yeah, and it's only going to look scary in VR. It's not going to look scary outside VR. So I mean, I don't know what this decision makes zero sense to me. But we got that's coming out May 18th. We also got Mages of Mystralia. We talked about this a few times. I think, way back.
Yeah, this game looks cute.
Coming out May 18th. It's like I would compare this to Magica.
Yeah, it looks like Magica, but you're single player and.
I don't know. Will it have multiplayer? Maybe.
Actually, I don't know if it has multiplayer.
I think for the right price, this would be a good pickup.
It's not Magica. You can't blow up your friends.
I don't think it has multiplayer. It doesn't seem to.
Yeah, it doesn't advertise it. I think they're going for a more story-oriented feel for it.
Yeah, so you play a little girl called Zia, and you use your magic to defeat the evils of the world, and it looks very nice. It looks like hand-drawn stuff and nice animations, and it'll be a great story.
And like Magica, you create your own spells, you mix and match them, elements.
Cool.
But do they randomly cause your friends to explode?
Maybe they randomly cause you to explode. I don't know.
Either way is good.
Yes.
You just like exploding things.
Well, there's
That aren't
consequences
enemies.
to using magic, sir.
All right, whoever put up this next trailer, you're hilarious.
It was May.
All right,
So
go
yeah,
ahead.
we're replacing all Nintendo footage with memes of some sort. I did Persona last time, so
Because
I just went with all your base belong to us.
Nintendo doesn't want us to show you the trailers to the games, even if they are the official trailers. Only Nintendo is the gatekeeper to Nintendo stuff.
But we got Fire Emblem Echoes: Shadows of Valentia, which is based on the I believe it's the second one in Fire Emblem. So Fire Emblem Gaiden.
Can keep track anymore.
Gaiden, I mean not Gaiden. Yeah, it's a Fire Emblem game. It's gonna do extremely well in reviews, and it's gonna be an extremely good game probably. On top of that, so it's gonna have a 95 at least on Nintendo's score.
Yeah, it's gonna get that Nintendo points.
Yes, strategy RPG. If you don't know what Fire Emblem is for some reason.
All right, I'm gonna try this next one. Okay, it's called Uta Warerumono Mask of Deception. PS4. Thank you. PS4 and PS Vita on May 23rd. This game, we've actually mentioned this game before.
Yeah.
We've only got the teaser trailer here for you, but it is an Atlas game.
It's not an Atlas game. It's in I think Aqua Plaza is the
Atlas
publisher.
is somebody's publishing it.
Or Aqua Plus is the publisher.
It's an Atlas logo
you
on
sure
the trailer.
It's Atlas?
Yeah.
Really? It's an Atlas game?
Yeah, it's Atlas.
Okay, they're publishing it.
It's Atlas.
It's a strategy RPG. It's based on it was visual novel elements to it. They did animes of this game. Yeah, it has like all these different cat girls too.
Oh yes, cat girls.
Yes, which are my favorite.
That's Instabuy.
Yes,
it's the cat girls.
No, but I probably won't pick this one up just because I have way too many games to play. But
all right.
I hear it's a pretty good strategy RPG visual novel.
Well, speaking of strategy RPGs, also on May 23rd, Disgaea 5 Complete is coming for the Switch.
We got a free strategy RPGs in a row. Look at that.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
When it rains, it pours. I guess.
It's Disgaea 5. You just rack up huge numbers. That's the whole point of the game, like to make your numbers as big as possible.
Okay.
You just keep leveling up.
I didn't know that was the point.
9,999, and you could do millions and millions of damage.
Okay, I didn't know that was the point.
Look at those numbers on there, if you could see them.
Oh Jesus, yeah, I see them. Tax 65,000. It's insane, but okay. I've only followed this guy offhandedly.
The game has a lot of content, a lot of grinding. Some of these games have like 500-hour platinums on them.
Good Lord.
Well, it's coming to Switch though. This is a Switch version.
Yeah, you're gonna have to recharge your Switch about 4,000 times to finish this game.
Also, sold a ton of pre-orders for this. 100,000 pre-orders. 122K in Japan, 100,000 in the West.
That's not too shabby. Not too shabby.
I think that's more than the other Disgaea games sold total. Not combined, but each.
All right. We've mentioned before, right?
Yeah, it's been in development for a while. We got Mirage Arcane Warfare, which is chivalry with magic weapons.
Yes, like legit magic weapons.
So if you don't know what chivalry is, it's basically like a medieval fighting game, kind of like Mount and Blade. Very, very realistic in the fighting style. This one's obviously not going for as much realism, but it still has that kind of melee element to it, where you have to really you block and parry and riposte and all those French words.
Those French words. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fencing.
Yeah,
it's called magic. So you shoot magic too.
Yeah.
But you do a lot of fencing also.
Yeah, it looks bleh to me, but All right, this next one is coming on March 24th. It is called Unit 4, coming for PC and the Xbox. And it is a pixely kind of game. I don't know a whole heck of a lot else about it, actually. Somehow I missed this trailer in the preview.
You know how I feel about those retro games, dude.
I don't even know why I put this on here, to be honest. I think it was a surprise that there's an Xbox and PC, but no PlayStation. Like, what? Did Microsoft pay for this game to be made?
It's definitely a platformer.
It's an old school platformer.
Yeah, like a Mega Man style.
Mega Man,
very much. Very old school retro platformer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pretty much feel the same.
I have feelings about these.
They're not good feelings, I imagine.
Yeah.
All right, so that is the sole game we want to tell you. It's coming on 24th. It's coming on 25th. A game we mentioned before, Vanquish, is coming to PC. It's already on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. This is that awesome platinum-like bullet hell crazy fucking shooter that we showed you before. So $20, right, on Steam, you said?
Yep, $20 on Steam.
10 days, you can pick that one up. If it tickles your fancy. Looks really great. It's probably going to have a 4K patch for all we know. But yeah, that looks cool. All right, take us through the 26th, guys. I'm done talking. I'm also exhausted.
Yeah, me too.
At least you get to watch hockey.
All right, well,
I am watching hockey right now. Dude, Pittsburgh just fucking scored an amazing goal. They got
Juicing.
5 minutes left in the third.
Juicing.
Oh, you can say it,
fucking juicing, man. Hate Pittsburgh. Fuck Pittsburgh.
I understand, dude, but they're on the game tonight.
So we got Rhyme releasing finally after this game has been in development for years and years. This was announced when the original PS4 was, and it was supposed to be PS4 exclusive, but they had issues with Sony. Sony's like, "Are you really not going to make this game? Because we've been paying you money, and you're not making anything." And then Trower's got in trouble for bull shots. It looks like they're using the same Trower, so I don't know if there's really bull shots there.
This is exactly the same trailer that we've seen.
Yeah. We haven't heard a lot from this game other than Sony dropping it. But apparently it's coming out May 26th. That's what they say. I don't know if I believe them. And it's supposed to come, it's coming out on PC, PS4, Xbox One. It's supposed to come on Switch later. I have no idea when. I think that's one of theirs. Is we're just going to announce it for the Switch because what the hell? We're not actually going to develop
why
for
not?
it. Because we basically lie about when this game's going to come out anyway. This is supposed to be an early PS4 release. Yeah.
It's coming now.
So they say. I don't
Better late
believe
than never, I
believe
suppose.
you. But it's supposed to be like Eco. I don't know. Do you pronounce that the Japanese way, Eco or Ico?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's Rhyme.
It's Rhyme. All right, next up.
Rhyme.
Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator 2 is coming.
It says Rev 2 now. God.
Rev 2, so like Revision 2?
No, it's Guilty Gear Xrd. Xrd is the way you're supposed to say it, by the way. Xrd Rev 2. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's
coming on PS4.
Japanese.
I'm still waiting for Guilty Gear to just do games as a service because
that's what I'm waiting for.
They released too many goddamn games. It's
it's like
out of hand, guys.
You added 2 characters, or 3 or 4. I don't know how many.
People hated Capcom for this. People need to start telling Axis to stop doing this bullshit too because it's
I think the only new character is Answer and Biken, and that's it. And
Biken's coming back.
Yeah.
She was on break with her one arm. She's coming back now because she got new tatami mats to throw at you.
Now you can see her tits in HD.
Nice. Well, that's always a bonus. Biken was rather chesty. Did love me some Kenshin.
She had a very masculine voice in the original Guilty Gear, and doesn't sound as masculine now, which kind of upsets me.
Yeah, the masculine voice was kind of hot. All right, Friday the 13th, the game, which was announced last year when there was actually in October, Friday the 13th, did not release, but now it is releasing. If you still care, it is not coming out on Friday the 13th. It's coming out on May 26th. This game looks, as one would expect, it looks awful.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard from early access and people have been playing it early.
Yeah,
it's awful.
I believe it's asynchronous multiplayer, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, like Left 4 Dead kind of thing, except way fucking worse because you're only Jason or you're only a camper. I think that's how it works. But that's from the last time I remember looking at this game. It could be something different, although I doubt it. Okay. We're almost done. We got 3 more to go. We're getting there.
All right, we got Get Even, which is an Xbox One PC game, another one that's very unusual. But they always release Xbox exclusive for PC, so they're not really exclusives. But it's a spy type game, spy type shooter. Getting kind of GoldenEye feels, but way darker, obviously. He has a camera. He walks around with a camera, and it's a spy stuff.
He does, yes.
He scans stuff with it. Is this a new Mass Effect?
I hope not. That's my comment for that.
Yeah, and that's coming out May 26th.
Speaking of Capcom, we've got Ultra Street Fighter 2: The Final Challengers coming for the Switch.
Fuck you, Capcom.
And nobody cared, so let's talk about Necopara.
It's a goddamn fucking another Street Fighter 2.
It's another Street Fighter 2.
How many times are you going to make Street Fighter 2? This game has been remade more than any other game, I'm pretty certain.
You probably are not incorrect. I cannot think of a game.
At least 20 different versions of Street Fighter 2.
I cannot think of a game that...
Stop it, please, Capcom.
This is just Nintendo scratching the old itch again. Like, people remember playing... Street Fighter 2 on SNES, right?
You can get Street Fighter 2 for like
no way.
$5. Another different version.
$40. Nintendo, your netcode ain't that valuable. Get the fuck out of here. All right, this next game.
Saved the best for last.
Yep, there's lots of boobies in this one, I think. So here we go.
It's not safe for work warning. Well.
You shouldn't be watching this podcast at work, guys.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic
but
here.
The Necopara games are very, very popular visual novel games. They would probably fall under the eroge category that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I would put that squarely in there. Yeah.
Yes, you.
Without a doubt.
You kind of romance these cat girls that are your pets.
These luscious cat girls.
Yes.
Barely legal.
Run a sweet shop with them, and they're in maid outfits because that's what cat girls wear.
Well, that's what my cat girls wear.
And you have sex with these cat girls.
Do you have sex on screen with them, or is it like a?
Yes, on screen sex. There will be a censored patch on. There's a censored version on Steam, obviously. I don't know what the details of that is, but obviously you're going to want to buy the uncensored version.
I mean, yeah, if you want to get full mileage on the dollar here, you're going to want to see some titties. I mean, that's just what you pay for.
But these are probably one of the best selling Eurogate series. This sold 1 million copies, if you can believe it. The series.
Imagine why.
As of April 2017, the series sold 1 million copies.
Well, that's wonderful.
I'm gonna have to buy this one.
Okay, you do that. All right, so that's all the games coming out between now and the next podcast. Let's go over any of the news scores and talk about the averages here on the Fantasy Draft. So the only game that's come out since the last podcast is a Chocobro game. It came out on May 3rd. Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky, the third. 5th round pick. It scored an 81, which is, I guess, now his highest score, right? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, well, I thought our score's an 80, so it's got 80.5.
85. All right, so
the only other change was Puppet dropped 1 point on Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Oh man, that
keeps on giving.
Keeps tanking. Yeah. All right.
which ties it with his also his pick, ukulele 72.
Oh, terrible. All right, so the score averages here. Let's see. So AI continues to be in the lead with 4 releases at 85.25. Let's see. Second place is Cipher. 2 releases, 82.5. Gray is at an even 82. Chocobro is at 80.5 with 2 releases. And Papa J is bringing up the rear with 4 releases and a fail at 80.25.
Zelda. He had Zelda.
No.
97 points.
Terrible. He had the easy like 96 or whatever it was. Is it still at 96?
I'm shocked that the Ghost Recon pick was bad, but the ukulele pick that in the 72, that was surprising.
That was that's the shell shocker of the year right there.
That in Mass Effect.
So we still got plenty of games coming out from now to the end of the year that are going to show up on our fantasy drafts. So fear not, the score may change. There's still a couple of swap rounds as well, and we also haven't factored in the swap score itself. So. It's a pretty close race, though. I mean, for it to be within 4.75 point spread, that's pretty good, I think, all around. Certainly a much closer race at this time of the year than it was, I think, last year.
Yeah, and we also got we got no new games coming up for the draft, which is surprising. I think we've had nothing but I think we've had at least one title release from between each podcast.
Typically, yeah. Yeah, we've had we front loaded a lot of our picks, so I think things are going to spread out going forward here. So
yeah, we do got Star Trek coming out.
Right, and that's my pick, so I'm looking forward to that. Things going pretty dang well, but we'll see.
Which Star Trek?
Bridge Crew.
Oh yeah, you're gonna do well there.
I hope so. I'm looking for an 85, 84. I'd be happy with. So.
Yeah, Gray's gonna go out and buy VR.
You're gonna join us, right, dude?
I wish I could.
Oh
no,
you have
to. You don't have to wish. You could do it.
Just go.
Do I need the VR headset? I don't want the VR headset.
Yes. Use the Xbox One.
The Xbox.
What? I meant Microsoft, not Xbox, but same one.
No, get the Vive, dude. Get the fucking subcontractors out there to fucking install your lighthouses to code. You'll be fine, dude.
Oh, yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I didn't do it in the code either.
They're just there.
It's dirty. It's dirty.
I think that's how most people implement their lighthouses. Like, it's just kind of where it's supposed to be.
No, it's up there. It's in the stud. It's not code.
When it falls and smashes on the floor, I'll buy another one.
No, they won't do that. But yeah.
All right. Well, I'll say what I always say. I'll think about it. That's gonna be the end of this show. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Sunday. Finally, March 28th. What month am I in? For our 91st episode. In the meantime, if you like what you're listening to, you can check out all the games we're playing at the IGC community at impact-gaming.us. You can apply for anything you like. You can follow us on Twitter at impact_gamingcm. Follow us on YouTube at Impact Gaming Videos and also on Twitter. And you can also listen to the audio-only version of this podcast on iTunes by typing in IGC Podcast, but we highly recommend you watch the YouTube version. That's it for this show. Thank you all for stopping by and for our audience members. And we miss Chocobro. I miss him very much, but I was glad that you guys came out for this one.
I was glad I could come.
I'm glad you were here. All right. See you guys in 2 weeks. Until then, game on.